Lately, life has been a little much for me, to be honest. I've been feeling a little overwhelmed at times with everything that's been going on, both in my own personal life as well as in the world, the scary things, the upsetting things, the uncertainties, and the news being what it is. I have been feeling a little out of sorts. When I feel like this, I've learned to go back to some of the basics and revisit some minimalist habits that help me to live simply, feel more grounded, more balanced, and frankly, stay sane in today's world. So today I want to share 7 of them with you. Welcome back everyone, and if you're new here, this is a place where you can get tips and inspiration for living a simpler, happier, and calmer life. So be sure to hit subscribe down below if you haven't already, and this video is kindly sponsored by Skillshare. Very thankful for their support. We will chat more about them later. Focus on just a few things. When it comes to simplifying our life, especially when life gets difficult, one of the best things we can do is take the principles of minimalism and apply them to our to-do list. So less is more, quality over quantity, doing what matters, doing it well, taking your time without doing 100 things at once. Especially when life gets overwhelming at times, try focusing on just a few things. Don't fall in the trap of creating an endless to-do list for yourself so you'll feel productive. This is hard for me too sometimes, I admit, but honestly, this does wonders. The window of tolerance. Such an eye-opening concept that I only learned about quite recently because someone mentioned it on Patreon. Now, I'm not an expert on this, so if you want to learn more, then feel free to do your own research, but the window of tolerance can also be called comfort zone. But it's also much more than that. It's a state where we are able to function and thrive, feel safe, able to regulate our emotions, and self-soothe when we need to. This is nice because when we're faced with stress, we are able to cope with it, manage our reaction to it, and stay in the present moment without worrying too much about the future or the past. When our nervous system becomes too active, we can fall either in the state called hyperarousal or hypoarousal. Hyperarousal is kind of like a fight or flight response where we feel anxious and overwhelmed, and hypoarousal is kind of like a freeze response where we feel disconnected, our brain might feel foggy, and we lack motivation or inspiration. When you're in that hyperarousal state, some things that can work are breathing exercises, mindfulness exercises, but when I fall out of my window of tolerance, I usually go into the hypoarousal state. Actually, just yesterday, I was really struggling writing the script for this video, and what helps me when I'm in that state is physical exercise and then mental exercise in the form of creativity. And after doing those 2 things, I was able to sit down and write the script for this video. For me, just knowing about this concept of the window of tolerance and to be able to recognize whether I'm in a hyper or hypoarousal state is super, super helpful for me because I know now what I need to do to feel better. Tidy up regularly. Another wonderful way that minimalism can help us to live simply is that by having less stuff around and then also tidying up regularly, little bits here and there, we're able to keep our spaces clear and calming and nice to be in, because being surrounded by tons of clutter can only add to the stress that you might already be experiencing at times. My boyfriend and I do a quick tidy twice a day, in the morning after breakfast and in the evening after dinner. It's quick and easy, takes about 5-10 minutes, just putting away the dishes, folding up the blankets, putting things back where they belong. A calm space helps create a calm mind. Make time for what lifts you up. Living simply isn't just about less clutter and fewer distractions and having your place in order. It's just that these things help us to free up more space for the things that lift us up, the things that bring us joy and fulfillment. So I always try to make sure that I'm making time for these things, even when life gets very busy and overwhelming, especially during those times even. Lately, what's been really helping me is doing fun things together with my boyfriend, like going out to lunch when the weather is nice, or taking a walk, or playing a video game together and like really getting into it. Also, I have been exercising a lot more recently, and that has been very helpful for my mental health. And lastly, making digital art in Procreate. I've only recently started this new hobby, and you might be wondering, well, where did you learn how to do it? The answer actually has to do with today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning platform where you can watch literally thousands of classes about all kinds of different topics, and there have been so many things that I have learned to do ever since starting with Skillshare around 2 years ago. From learning about videography and photography to learning how to take better care of my houseplants, playing guitar, journaling for self-care, even meditation. Skillshare is just awesome in my opinion because no matter what you want to learn, there's a class for it, and the teachers are always very knowledgeable and passionate. You can even upload your project to get their feedback, and it's also just great fun. The next class I'm excited for is called Illustrating Expressive Portraits in Procreate from Maya Fadul. Drawing people is still very new to me, so I'm excited to learn from her about drawing portraits. If there's any skill that you would like to learn or deepen, maybe it's creative or business related, or you want to make a change in your career, I highly recommend checking them out. And the first 1,000 people to click my link in the description will get a 1-month free trial, so you can already start today if you want. Big thanks to Skillshare for being a long-term supporter of my channel, as well as teaching me all kinds of cool things. Let's get back to the video. News and social media boundaries. Yes, you may have seen this one coming. I'll be quick with it, but I do want to mention it because it is one of the most important things that you can do, and it's definitely a must for me to really think about how much news you want to consume, how much you want to let it into your life and affect your mental space, and how much time you want to spend on social media. Think about when you're reading the news, how often, how it affects your mood on different times of the day. Yes, it's important to stay informed on a basic level, but how much, how deeply, and what that all looks like, that's up to you. Reading too much news or being too active on social media when it comes to current events especially can have negative effects on your mood. It can lead to feelings of anxiety or stress or depression. You don't have to take on the burdens of the world by staying informed about everything. It's not necessary and it's not helpful. At the very least, I would recommend staying away from the news and social media the first hour after waking up and the hour before going to bed. And if you want to limit it even more, then more power to you. If these last couple of years have taught me anything, it's the power of self-compassion, empathy, and being able to be more gentle with myself on days where everything just feels very hard. When we're not feeling our best, when we're not feeling motivated or productive or energetic, that doesn't mean that we're failing, it's just part of it. It happens, and it's a sign that we need to take things down a notch. And I've learned that when I accept how I'm feeling and take it seriously, at least try to do that as much as possible, these off days or off weeks can actually be quite nice because they help me to process what happened and recharge for what's to come. I've always found it very hard to deal with my to-do list on days like this because I felt like all the tasks were equally important and that I had to do them all. And that is simply just not true. There will always be tasks that we can just postpone for tomorrow or next week, and nothing really bad is going to happen. The world won't stop turning if we take it easy and only do the things that we absolutely have to do and leave the rest for another day. Slow down and enjoy the little things in the present moment. When I'm feeling burdened, stressed, overwhelmed, confused, I get in my own head. I imagine it's very similar for many of you watching, and when I get in my own head, I'm often thinking about the past or worrying about the future. Thinking of things that I still need to do, problems with a family member, whether or not my next video is going to perform well. And I notice that when I get like this, I like to take a step back, slow down, and do something nice in the here and now. I might try making a new recipe. Sometimes I'll go lay in bed with a book for an hour. Sometimes I like to just sit on the couch with a cup of tea, spacing out, enjoying the warmth, the flavors, the smells. Whatever you enjoy, try doing something like that whenever life gets too complicated and overwhelming, to just get out of your own head and into the present moment. Honestly, this video was a little hard for me to write in the end. It is a bit more personal, and also I had to just really dig deep because most of these habits are things I do without thinking too much about them. They've become my natural way of doing things. So of course, I would love to know from you what minimalist habits or just habits in general have been very helpful for you to live simply in today's world. So share them with me and everyone else in the comment section down below. Don't forget to check out Skillshare and get your 1-month free trial. I highly recommend checking them out. It is so much fun. Link in the description box. And if you want more, then you can watch this video where I talk about minimalism and the power of Wu Wei. As always, questions, comments, conversations down below. Thank you for being here, and I will see you again next week. Bye bye.